goodness.
So you talked about the label and everything. What kind of was your inspiration for the name? And I know like the label is very fashion. I can see that. It looks so classy and elegant.
Yeah, the first word when we were going through your website was like, this brand is very elegant.
Yeah.
Like, yes.
So, you know, when I started my footwear brand, like, which is IYLIA, going through the business side of it, when you trademark, well, at first I didn't want to use my name. And then I was like, okay, well, let me find a name that would just work well. My name, I went through, as you can imagine, every color, every scent, everything is trademarked, right?
Yes.
And you have to like be able to make sure that your name is available in a multitude of categories. So after like about 3 weeks of submitting names like in 10 at a time to my trademark attorney, and nothing was coming out, like either would be okay in one category, but it was occupied in another category, you know? And so I always envisioned my business as being like a lifestyle brand, which is a well overused term, but I wanted to not necessarily do it in the traditional way, but I wanted to, if I'm going to take a name, I want to make sure I have it across categories. So after the 3rd week, I was like, well, my name is Arabic. Let me see if I can find an Arabic name. So I finally found some names, and then I came across IYLIA, and it means sublime, superb, and a person of high standing.
Wow.
And on the spelling, there was actually an ancient Greek island called IYLIA that was one of the most beautiful islands ever. So I was like, if that's the name, let's keep it. Let's get started. And with regard to my business, it's interesting. Before you're in fashion I was really fortunate. Not only did I get to understand like the design side, from the very beginning, I was sent off to the factories, and most designers don't have that opportunity. They kind of design from a drawing and they send it overseas. They have no idea how things are made. But that wasn't my experience. I got to go to in the beginning, I didn't know if that was a great thing, but it turned out to be a great thing. So I immediately, my first trip abroad was to China, and I was there for a month, and this is not like the China of today, this is China like a long time ago. And what's great about that is that, you get to see the backside of fashion and how things are made. And what I wanted to accomplish with my brand, with the shoes especially, is that I wanted to create a collection of product that was wearable for women. Like New York requires a much greater amount of stuff from footwear, like it's a pedestrian city, a very heavily pedestrian city. And I always found that my friends who lived lives like me, they kind of had shoes under their desk, another pair of shoes in their bag, and they'd wear something on their way to work. And I didn't want to do that. So if you wanted to focus on comfort, it looked a certain way that wasn't really me. And then I also found that I would have this opportunity to travel the world, and I had amassed this enormous closet of footwear, but every single pair of shoes from all the brands, I'd have to take it to this place called Shoe Service, which is now Leather Spa in New York, to have everything resold and stretched so I could wear it in New York, but it still wouldn't work. Because a lot of times, most people don't know this, like there's certain luxury brands where the shoes are really occasion based. They were never meant to be worn all day, So you're doing yourself a disservice trying to wear your $1,200 whatever all day, because you're killing yourself. It's not comfortable, and you start to overcompensate in other ways. You start walking funny, your knee, it affects everything. And so I really wanted to focus on the aspects that make the product wearable, focusing on the leather, the materials that I was using, the fit, and just the wearability, the flexibility. And also I'm 5'9", I'm tall, and I wear a size 9.5, 10. So a lot of times, when you look at the beautiful in Vogue, you see this beautiful pair of shoes and they look so cute, but they're shot in a size 6. And then when you put it on a 10, it looks like a boat. And I was like, okay, well, I also want to design for that woman as well, because I feel like as you get into larger sizes, and women have larger feet nowadays, they don't really consider how things proportionally move from size to size. So that kind of methodology is what I bring into the alcohol business as well. Also pricing is important. I was tired of, I love fast fashion, but I was tired of doing that. And I also, didn't really want to spend a ton of money all the time, and so I really wanted to find a space where it was affordable to most women. and prepare and create a line of product that, you know, you could put it in your closet and 6 months to a year, it would still work. It wouldn't be obsolete, you know? So I wanted to be that brand, you know, and that's what I've really focused in on. And that's how I'm moving forward with IYLIA in terms of all aspects of the business. You know, I want to create, it's flavor based. So, you know, I wanted to work with a winery that would give me the ability to work with the, you know, enologist to create like flavors that were really unique to our brand. I wanted to, so it's flavor, flavor, flavor. And then I was like, well, knowing how I am, what's going to draw somebody in when they see it on the counter at a wine shop is how it looks, right? Because I was walking through the supermarkets and I was walking through wine shops, and it's just, it's a barrage of labels. And after a while, it all blends together.
It does.
So I was like, well, I want something that's going to really stand out, you know, and, you know, I'm starting out, so nobody knows who we are. So you've got to make sure I want it to be clean, in line with our branding consistently as a company. And then selecting the bottles that we're using, and, you know, all of those elements, really kind of how I put this whole thing together.
That's awesome. Yeah, you can see it, the label and the website, everything is just gorgeous. And
Yeah.
you found on the website today that it was just, what were the words used on the website? That it was just welcoming, and I don't know.
We saw
really
a
just
couple of things. We saw that you donate $1 to the Good Foundation, and I just love brands that like give back. So why did you choose that foundation particularly?
Well, that's extremely important to me. And I think even more after last year, you know, like, well, at this point, how do I say this? It became very apparent to me after month 1.5 in the pandemic that it didn't make sense for me to hawk shoes. Like, it just wasn't the time. And I saw a lot of fashion brands hawking their product, but as people were suffering, it just didn't make sense to me, you know? And then you just realize how fortunate you are if you made it through 2020, you know? And I was like, well, from now on, I don't really want to do anything that's not going to be for the greater good of people, you know, our environment. And one of the charities that I've really loved, I'm watching, there are quite a few, but I love Jessica Seinfeld's charity, which is the Good Plus Foundation. And basically it's about, you know, this is a very, kind of how she told the story. She was having her children, and she realized that there were a lot of people having children too who couldn't afford the basic needs. And so she and her friends started to donate to those charities. And then she realized, wow, there was a huge need to be filled. And so, but the focus is not, it's on families, but it's really primarily focused on fathers. And that's an area where most people don't focus. You know, they focus on the moms and not the dads. So not only helping them with education, helping people get Pampers, like things that are just basic, but are so much needed, you know? And that's really, I love that. I love that dynamic of family, you know, and I love the opportunity to, you know, this is before I was even pregnant, just, you know, give back to families. So what we're going to do right now until we get to the point where perhaps one day we have our own foundation is align our company every quarter with a charity, and, you know, $1 of each, you know, item sold will go toward that charity to help them. And I'm doing it through an independent organization. So, you know, also, as I was doing all the stuff last year, there are lots of charities that you can actually run through on the back end of your site, but it depends on the platform you're using, blah, 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 I won't bore you. But I just didn't want to be, I want it to be completely independent of IYLIA. So if we have an independent entity in between, they're responsible to keep us honest. So the money, they are the people that audit us, and the money goes directly to the charity. It's nothing where it's kind of like, this way people know we're clean. We're doing something that is for, you know, people, you know? So that was really important as well.
That's really great.